the Sports Betting Network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Thursday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, Sirius XM Channel 158. It's Gil Alexander. It's Kelly Bidlin, everybody. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm good.
Big day of sports.
We didn't wear our baseball jerseys like Dave and Jensen did.
I don't own a baseball jersey.
Jensen, who played the game, Dave, I'm not so sure if he did. You don't own a baseball jersey? I don't think I do either.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's okay. NBA opening day, I'll wear my Iverson jersey. Just the jersey.
Just the jersey.
Maybe pants. Maybe
nothing
pants.
Underneath the tank top.
That's right. Just the jersey.
Ladies, mark it down on your calendars.
That's right. When I'm looking a little bit more like Bets and Reps Michael Montesano out there. Jeez.
Montesano hasn't missed a day at the gym in years.
No.
On the show today, because I don't know if you know this, special numbers game investigation reveals that it's both the Sweet 16 and Major League Baseball opening day today. Cannot wait. John Legasa will join us from the Athletic. Lag has talking baseball with us, what he's on today. Ben Wilson to talk Sweet 16 with us, and Tim Murray as well, our own Tim Murray, to talk Sweet 16 with us, what his thoughts are on the 4 games tonight and the 4 games tomorrow. We'll give our bracket challenge plays here at VSiN.
Yeah, we will.
I'm not winning this thing, but
watch out.
I'm playing it to the end. I got my picks coming up.
Who's at the top? Karina, right? Watch out,
Karina Mitchell in the VSiN category. But should we give a shout out once again, because that's just the VSiN stuff. Let's give a shout out to the real standings.
That's right.
Which is I want to get again the name correct.
Where people actually have quality records.
Well, Karina has a quality record too, but was it Omar Ara at first 3 letters of the last name, 23-6-1.
That's ridiculous.
In the first 2 rounds.
Just silly.
Talking totals and against the spread, followed by a couple Brandons, Sig and Parr, who are 23-7-1, 22-7-1. Karina, for giggles, just to be clear, 18-11-1.
Yeah, that's pretty
who is ahead of Sean Green, who actually has the best record of 29-1. That's 20 wins, 9 losses, and 1 push. But because it's weighted, right, the second round games counted more than the first round games. And I would assume moving forward that continues. So you're in 12th place. You got a shot, baby.
Coming for that super prize, whatever it is.
Bragging rights.
I don't know what it is.
Bragging rights.
A VSiN jacket.
All right, I added a baseball play. We'll go through our bracket challenge plays. I have Joe Pita's baseball plays for today. First, though, let's get the unfun stuff out of the way. I'm never winning another tennis match for the rest of my life.
Apparently not.
Never again. Zach and I were oppo on Dimitrov and Cerundolo yesterday, and Dimitrov won it in a third set tiebreaker where he had to be taken off the court, carried off the court afterwards. Unbelievable performance by Dimitrov. And there's a lot of people who would be like, hey, what do you mean? You had a match point. You're up 3-love in the third set. We were lucky to even win the first set. Totally lucky, because Dimitrov was like 1 for 11 on break point. So
wait,
again,
why was he carried off the court?
Because he was like completely
exhausted.
Yeah,
wow.
Completely exhausted in Miami humidity.
I had to do that for Gil during a show one time too. He did such a great job. I just had to carry him out.
I was exhausted. It was too much. But like I said with Osaka the other day, tennis happens, and so there's never an excuse, and so we just can't get it done. I will say this though, Drew, we were texting yesterday, and this gives me no pleasure that Drew is having problems in tennis too, but he goes, I've been getting my teeth kicked in all year in tennis. And I'm like, okay, I'm not happy that you are, but at least that makes me feel sane.
It's a weird feeling. You're not happy, but it makes you feel better about your own problems and process.
Well, what it does say is the numbers approach that has worked beautifully and gloriously for 3 straight years, if not 4, right? All of a sudden has hit the skids in a way where you're like, yeah, Zach rolled in here yesterday with a 3-0, and he openly says he doesn't do anything by the numbers. It's all feel. So, Zach Cohen's tennis picks, VSiN.com/picks. Check them out.
I got a laugher for you yesterday in the NBA.
Drew's other comment was, I've never said this before, I can't wait for Clay, he said.
I got a laugher for you in the NBA.
What's that?
So, Montesano comes into town yesterday, texts us, what are you guys betting tonight? I'm like, hey, I'm Clippers and Pacers, right? So, he texts me this morning. He's right outside the studio. He's like, hey, good 2-0 day yesterday. I'm like, not for me. It was 1-1 because I played the Pacers on the money line, which I usually never do, instead of taking the 1.5. And LeBron with the beautiful tip-in with 0.1 seconds left on the clock.
Ended up with 13, just extended the streak of double-digit performances.
That was actually crazy to watch
Yeah.
in the fourth quarter because you were legit wondering if he was going to get to 10 in the fourth.
Only one more thing about tennis. Iga, we have to bring up Iga. She loses to Alexandra Ayala in the quarters, and Ayala was unbelievable. Ayala, this girl has beaten 3 Grand Slam champs in Ostapenko, Keys, and Iga back to back to back. There was no way to predict the last 2. Maybe against Ostapenko you could have, but certainly not against Keys or Swiatek. And I was telling you I had the quarter play on Swiatek because of the historical math, right? Was it 57% of the time she has won her quarter in tournaments since the French Open? Over 60% of the time she has played for the quarter. So just from historical, you just auto-bet her quarters rather than trying to do the hypothetical of match by match at any given tournament when you don't know who she's actually going to play. Anyway, she gets beat. And just to bring up Drew again, his theory, she is so rattled by anything that happens non-tennis-wise, like if there was the double bounce
right?
that she got accused of, and that rattled her. There was the doping, quote unquote, right? She got rattled by that, and then there was a fan at this tournament who heckled and screamed at her and about her family or whatever. It's kind of like a Raducanu thing when she had a stalker. Anyway, whatever the theory or not, you can't get rattled like that, dude. You cannot let that affect your performance, and there's definitely something up with that. But anyway, that's, again, we'll see if we ever win another tennis match again. No guarantees.
We'll see.
But for those who are new to betting.
And nothing for you today.
No, nothing. Wait, Clay, where are you, Clay? I don't know. Maybe I'll have something. I don't have anything today, but maybe I'll have something in the next couple of days, but who knows?
The Yes would have cashed, crew. Would have cashed today.
Yeah,
we didn't bet it.
Would have cashed. Anyway, I just think that's if you're a new or newish bettor, just know that no matter how successful you are, there will be these stretches of time. And anybody who tells you they're not, they're either lying or they haven't done it long enough.
And especially with sports, like tennis, like golf, if you're betting almost every day, yes, you go through stretches like that, absolutely.
Okay, baseball. I added to my with my baseball season longs. And baseball, by the way, why are we starting at noon Pacific? Why are we not starting right after the show?
Yeah, I have no idea. I thought it was noon Eastern usually.
Rob Manfred is like, let's get them as close to the Sweet 16 games as possible so we have as few eyeballs on this opening day as we possibly can. But I added, in addition to the race to the 10 regular season wins on the Mets at 17-1, the March-April wins on the Twins at 15-1, and the Guardians under at 82.5. Yesterday I added here at Circa because they have these alt-season win totals that they've done for the first time in baseball. Guardians under 87.5, minus 245. So their season win total here had actually dipped to 81.5, and their alt is alt by 6 games. So I went under 87.5, minus 245, inspired by Steve Fezik's line where he opened the sentence with me, Gil, my son and I did binomial distributions, ... And as soon as Steve starts any sentence with that, he said, he likes the alt-season. Basically, their binomial distributions revealed that the alt-season win totals were even better. So I wanted to play one of them anyway out here because I think it's just a good on Circa to have these markets up. So I added to the Guardians with the alt-season win total under as well, playing it that way. Baseball today, I don't have any plays in any individual plays. We will get those from John Legasa here momentarily, but would you like to hear Joe Pita's that he's playing today?
What's he got?
Joe Pita.
Pita backfiring win totals and daily games.
This kid is on. He is all about it.
Yeah.
Can I call him a kid? He was going to have 4, but he's got 3 now. The 4th was going to be the Nationals at about plus 158. Mackenzie Gore against Zach Wheeler, but that crashed, and we're not exactly sure why. The Nats are only like a plus 130 dog now, so he's not playing that anymore. That would have been the 4th. The 3 that he is playing, Giants. San Francisco Giants, the Magic. Minus 106, Logan Webb over Hunter Green and the Reds. He's on the Cardinals, Sonny Gray over Pablo Lopez. So he's on the Cardinals game number 2 there. And then he's on the Cubbies, plus 108, Justin Steele over Zach Gallen against the Diamondbacks. So those are the 3. Giants, Cardinals, Cubs. Giants a slight favorite, Cardinals and Cubs slight dogs. Those are from Joe Pita in baseball. And then our VSiN Bracket Challenge. Again, we mentioned who was at the top. Kelly, you're in 12th. I'm in 23rd.
Saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. Here are my 4, and it is a square bear quartet, man. Let me just say this. I've talked about this in some... I and the guests have talked about this in different ways all through the week, but I ended up with just the squarest looking 4 plays. And we get, again,
I like it.
You could do 4 tonight, you could do 4 tomorrow, you could do 2 and 2, you could do 3 and 1, whatever. I have 3 today, 1 tomorrow. I'm on the Gators. I laid the points in our... sadly, I didn't put the play in before it got to 7 on Florida in the Bracket Challenge. By the way, I do have a bet on Florida, an actual bet at -6 versus the Terps. I just don't think the Terps' depth will play well long-term in this game against the Gators. And then Duke. I'm laying the wood with Duke. -9.5 versus Arizona in the Bracket Challenge as well. And then I'm doing the square play on BYU Bama. I mean, I've played so many Bama overs in-game this year. Not pre-flop, but I mean, you can't. There's too many to count how many in-game overs on Bama. Why stop now with a pre-flop bracket play? Pre-flop bracket play over 176 in the BYU Alabama game. Those are all tonight, and then tomorrow, as I mentioned, I do have this bet: Michigan. While I only have it in pocket at +7.5 in the Bracket Challenge, I got it +8.5 versus Auburn.
I like it. I am on, let's see, multiple of those with you. Florida and Bama sides I used in the contest. I also have bets laying 5 juiced with Florida I got on the opener, and then Bama 5 I bet yesterday. Those are 2 real bets for me, and then the other Bracket Challenge plays for me, Michigan, and then Michigan State. I'm laying the points.
All right, so we match on 2 Bracket Challenge plays, Florida and Michigan. And yeah, some of these are going to be actual bets, and some of these are just for the challenge, because we got to fill it out with 4. Coming back with John Legase on baseball next.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole 9, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
On the next Money Moves, Grace Remington joins me, Stormy Bonantoni, as we get you set for a massive day in the sports world. MLB Hall of Famer Greg Maddux will join us in studio as he throws out the first pitch of opening day here at Circa Sportsbook. We'll also break down day 1 of the Sweet 16, headlined in a potentially high-scoring affair. Number 2 seed Alabama taking on the 6 seed BYU Cougars. It's all happening starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a Numbers Game, live from Circa Casino Resort. Is it Resort Casino? Casino Resort. Casino Resort down here in downtown Las Vegas. Don't forget about the website, VSiN.com. If you want to bet smarter, check it out. Sweet 16 game previews. Greg Peterson's best bets in college hoops and Major League Baseball. This is Greg's time of year right here, both his sports. Steve Makinen's MLB bullpen betting systems. And later today, you can check out Adam Burke's MLB best bets, Zach Cohen's best bets in the NBA, and Jonathan Davis's best bets in the NHL. To get access to all the articles and betting guides on VSiN.com right now, you can sign up for as little as $9.99. Just head to VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up today.
That's less than $10.
You did the math for us.
That's right, I did the math.
Good job. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Coach Brian, I know it's baseball season when I'm listening to Borchard on the podcast from yesterday, and he's dropping smooth lyrics and baseball parlays. Listen at 1.5 times for a few and extended laugh. Happy new baseball year. Yeah, listen to Borchard at 1.5 speed to get the full effect of his spitting lyrics, spitting rhymes.
I don't appreciate that, Gil. I would like everybody to listen at regular speed. I choose my cadence and pace very carefully, and if you speed it up, it might get lost.
Meltzer, like Seltzer, used to tell me, I remember the Betting Dork podcast years ago, he used to say, yeah, I listened to you on 2 times. And I remember being like offended at first, like, what? 2 times?
I'm just kidding. I go 1.25 for everything.
Pitches you throw, hypnotize teams.
Oh, there we go. Sean with the late drop. Okay,
yeah,
good.
Late drop, right, Sean?
It's okay, Sean. It's not normally here. It's good to see Sean.
See Spackler, expert. An ESPN no-look pass and the win by Jokic. Just another reason you can't give him the MVP. He's just not that good. Besides, SGA is such a nice person. See Spackler's very bitter. Very bitter. The Better Life. Tim Lawson. Back in the day, the beginning of the MLB season for me was always when, he put together, this is a March 31st, 2013 tweet of mine where I say play ball. Baseball used to be my thing, man. That used to be my number one sport. So thank you for bringing that up, Timmy Lawson, bringing back an old memory. Patrick Simmons, going to need a baseball derivatives pod next week, sir. We usually wait a quarter of the season before we do that, not just a weekend. But yes, we will do that. Mark Borchard and I will. Pick 10. Gil, it was so exhausting watching the first set yesterday between Cerundolo and Dimitrov that I bought out my bet and made $15 on a $50 bet. Good for you. Yeah, it was totally exhausting, that first set. Cowboys _Cubs 1. Yo, hey man, and Kelly too. He said, hey man, and Kelly too. Having serious withdrawals after becoming addicted to joint bets. Maya Joint. Getting my fix today with first round leader golf bets on Potgieter and Tosti. And need positive reinforcement from country clubman K. Michael Bidlin. Let's smoke them today.
Well, while I like the long shots style with the plays, and it's a good podcast I hear too. I like the plays, but I'm always a little careful. I didn't do anything first round leader today. It's raining. It's going to be raining out there all first round.
It's windy already, I see.
Yeah. It's ugly out there. I'm looking at it right now. It's gross. The problem with this is you don't know when play might be stopped and resumed, and your guy might get stuck playing in gross rain, and then, some guys get to come back to beautiful conditions with soft greens and no rain and can fill it up with some birdies.
Ladies and gentlemen, he always has a problem bringing energy to the show, and no matter how much we try to coax him to be more energetic, he doesn't comply. It's John Legasa, everybody, from The Athletic, MLB and NFL writer for The Athletic and MLB Fantasy Life. You can follow him on Twitter at John Legasa. That's Lagheza, phonetically. How you doing, Johnny?
Yo, Gil, in the words of the great Hambino, play ball! Hold on, I got it real quick because you guys were talking about podcasts on multiple speed. I used to joke, if you put me on 2 times speed, I think it's just a solid tone at that point.
Right, yeah.
That's right. For you, just one very indecipherable tone.
Dogs start barking. Yeah.
Man, you love this day more than any other?
Well, I mean, it's like Christmas for me. It also cost me a lot less. I might actually make money on this adult Christmas.
Yes, Christmas. Well, yeah, as Christmas should be. But I understand. Yes, the point here is to make money. So, if opening day, how much do you fire here? Do you go nuts, or do you sort of pare it back a little bit?
No, I mean, I really take the opportunity to share my model, data, and strat with people. I think that's probably the best way to listen. It's an absolute marathon. There's no reason to get behind the 8 ball. And there are a lot of kind of things still to be decided, right? Pitcher velo and pitch mix and, hitter health even, right? We have this wave tsunami of injuries going on. So really just get your feet set. I actually like to play around with the highest scoring team for the day. I think that's a fun way to get your, a little exposure at some longer odds and kind of put the model to work without having to grind all the straight stuff that we want to be more involved in once there's a bit more data to get behind.
Care to share who you landed on today?
Right now the model and again, I love these because you don't have to just attack a single team. Books usually post, because I do run implied team totals every day. Check it out at John Legaze on Twitter. We got Philly and Baltimore kind of separating from the pack. They're both going off at 15-1. So you could take like a low risk kind of split bet. And, you get a little bit of run out of it. You're right. You really get a couple bites in the apple. Baltimore's going to get a chomp at Joe Barry's. Man, Barrios has really been on the struggle bus, and I think this is the year the wheels kind of fall off for him. He was a little bit lucky from the underpinning metric perspective last year. And, yeah, the Phillies are just really, really good. I like the ballpark they're hitting in. Gore's a little bit touchy. And, again, you really want to go after kind of bad bullpens when you're looking at that also. I know some people were into Milwaukee. That seemed to be the public's pick when I posted all my stuff on Twitter today. But even if you think they're going to get Rodon for 4 or 5, that Yankee pen is really good. So you kind of need to score throughout.
Did you end up on any play today? Did you play anything?
No, I didn't really yet. I like Milwaukee first 5 team total. That was at 1.5. I think they get Rodon for 2. And I'm just kind of taking it easy. I like Baltimore, F5. I think Eflin over Berrios, right around even money. I kind of like that. But again, I'm really pumping the brakes on the straight play stuff. I want to give it a week to digest. I'm not saying adjust the model. I don't like to play. I don't like to go under the hood and start being a gremlin and start ripping hoses and pipes out. There's thousands of hours in this thing. But we do want to see how the ball is playing in with the cold and all that stuff. I think that actually matters, how hang time is being affected with the weather and stuff. That's what I'll be looking for the first week, kind of offensive environment.
I always say it, 2,428 games left to be played. No reason to go crazy today.
There's a long way to go. Everybody's looking for these full tickets today. Not to say you should just enjoy, you shouldn't bet. But I think there are, in this kind of robust age of legalized gambling, something like the team total stuff is it almost reminds me of like a golf bet, right? Like a kind of a board bet with longer odds where, like I said, you get a couple bites of the apple.
You did make a bet, however, a season long, and there is still time to put these in, by the way.
Again, the clock's ticking.
Because, again, Rob Ranford apparently they refused to play games early today. It's got to wait till 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon, which, I'll never understand. But
the schedule maker belongs in prison, federal prison.
It's ridiculous. RBIs. We haven't really, I don't think we've had anybody come on here and make a bet in the most RBI market. You did, though, however.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the few markets that you do want to wait on, even if it's going to cost you a little bit of price. I know pricing over everything pretty much, but because runs batted in are predicated on someone else also performing, you want to make sure all those pieces come in. So I like Pete Alonso to lead the league in ribbies at 14-1. And, he's hitting behind some guy named Juan Soto, who just happens to get on base like 41% of the time in his career. Last year's RBI leader, Aaron Judge, was hitting behind, you guessed it, Juan Soto. But also Pete Alonso, I think there's a little bit more into this also. One, it's very situational RBIs, right? You need plate appearances, and nobody gets more of those than Pete. Going back 4 years, he's averaging 157 games. He's clocking in at 669 plate appearances per. And also, one last note to just a stylistic element for Pete, that's something he's talked about. He's not really a strikeout machine, and more so cleans that up with runners on base. That K rate drops below 20% with runners in scoring position. He's always been a very good run producer. I think he was second in RBIs in 2023, and he's third in RBIs going back those 4 years that I mentioned where he plays every day. So at 14-1, I think the odds are a little bit long. Hitting behind Lindor and Soto, he should get plenty of opportunities. Mets ballpark's been good enough to hit him. So, yeah, I actually really love this one.
Well, that actually is very simpatico. Joe Pito was on here earlier, and he is super bullish on the Mets.
Yeah, he should be.
I have the Mets first to 10. Dodgers are going to have a say about that, obviously. But one of his biggest points of the Mets that I remember is exactly what you just said, which is the whole key was re-signing Alonso, because now with the table setters, Lindor and Soto, 2 of the best table setters in the entire game of baseball, that is the killer the killer sort of stretch of that Mets lineup in a way that Alonso has never had before, obviously.
Yeah,
so,
massive amount of protection offered.
Massive amount. Before we go, just give me one sentence, one outlying opinion heading into the season about baseball that you think is off from the conventional wisdom.
I don't know. Yankees don't make the playoffs.
That counts. Yankees don't make the playoffs. Okay.
No, they don't. They're terrible. They're terrible.
Wow. Okay. And this is from a man who got plucked right from the outfield at the Yankee Stadium in the
Tied
Bronx.
in the wool, blooded my and I am pinstriped down to the core.
Yeah. John, great to see you. Let's talk all year, man.
You guys.
Appreciate it.
Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy.
John Legase, everybody. Instant offense. The microwave. He's Vinny Johnson. We'll come back. Ben Wilson with all of his thoughts. Sweet 16 and beyond. It's next. Numbers Game. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
And they're off.
For just $9.99, VSiN's got you covered for March Mania with a VSiN Pro subscription. You'll get access to bracket breakdowns, daily expert picks, as well as our March Mania betting guide, exclusive to Pro subscribers. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe today to sign up for just $9.99. And don't forget to catch us on the go with the VSiN Watch app or listen on SiriusXM Channel 158 and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Are you ready to take your sports betting to the next level? The Sharp Plays at sharpplays.com is your secret weapon since 2011. They've been building trusted relationships with major sports books and sports insiders worldwide. They provide daily updates on what top pro sports bettors and betting groups are wagering on, so you're always ahead of the game. But that's not all. They just launched a cutting-edge AI betting analyst that provides even more selections and reports, giving you the edge you need to win. The best part, you can check out the Sharp Plays free content anytime, get real-time betting action reports, alerts, and more through email and X directly from the pros, plus explore all their records, including detailed online logs right on the website at sharpplays.com. With the Sharp Plays, you're joining a team that's never had a losing year. And what do you have to lose then? Start today. Get access to the best betting insights at sharpplays.com. Skill Alexander, we get tweets at Beat of the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. Auburnist at The Auburnist. Hitting a losing streak always sucks. Of course, I talked to a friend who is one of the worst gamblers I know, and he bragged about hitting a bunch of parlays this week. It'd be like that sometimes, he says. Auburnist, you're right. It'd be like that sometimes. James Sott, tennis season has been rough for sure. Eagle losing is rough. Basically, my only go-to has been fading Coco, which is still profitable, and that's it. And that, like Zach, is just by feel. Yeah, it's been miserable for Coco, Carlitos losing out of nowhere. It's just been the oddest, weirdest tennis hardcourt season for sure. 3Jack H3131. Can you guys do the show at 1.5 times speed? Could you get more content in that way? Happy first day of baseball. It's actually a fantastic suggestion. David Shalafor, thought I was smart playing Iga under games yesterday, a.k.a. a straight set winner. Better to be lucky sometimes.
Oh, man.
That's amazing. Let's go. Good for you, man. Joe Zakag, hope I'm pronouncing that okay, said, Gil, question, as someone new to tennis betting, what happens when your wager, pardon me, when the match is postponed? Example, Korda Djokovic from yesterday. It stands. It's still open, and it counts. The only things that happen is when someone, quits in the middle of a match, then books handle it different ways. But if the match is not even taken place yet, and it just gets postponed, it is still action. Jeff Cam, trying to find the monthly win totals at DraftKings. Want to tell you on the Twins. Having no luck. Wondering if this is not offered in New York. Any guidance would be appreciated. I'm not sure if it's not offered in New York, but maybe because the Dodgers and the Cubs already played 2 games, they took it down at DraftKings, perhaps? I don't know.
I'm trying. I will try. See, we have multiple questions about baseball markets. I'll try to answer everybody's. I see it up right now at DraftKings.
Kevin Ryan.
But it might be a state thing.
Maybe it's a New York thing then. Sorry about that, Jeff. Maybe it is a New York thing. Kevin Ryan. Gil, I hear all the time, including today, when a guest says, my model says, and my model's projections say, please ask Kelly where I can buy a model, as he says it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I use different sites to put my stuff together. Don't have the math background that I'm sitting there breaking down my own model. What it is, though, is I'm using sites that use stats that I'm able to punch in, and it's a stat engine, basically, that I'm weighing everything, a certain percentage, put it all in the wash, and what it comes out with is where I use my model then.
Yeah. Golf is great for that. That's why you guys oftentimes end up on many of the same golfers, because you're putting in similar input.
We're scouting courses, seeing what's most important for that course success that week, and we're weighing those stats more heavily than the rest. That's why you'll often see, myself, Matt Brown, Wes, on similar plays for sure.
ND Money, perhaps you should attempt a change in Tennis Mojo with a bet on Clay Holmes today. See what you did there. Who knows? Maybe that'll work. Speaking of models, this man was a model, I think, back in the day. Ben Wilson joins us, ladies and gentlemen, the man who will be the most famous person to ever come out of VSiN in the non-Stormy Bonatoni category. Ben Wilson joins us, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. How you doing, man?
Good. Well, all I know about what my model says is that apparently, I think I figured out this whole non-upset thing, guys, in the NCAA tournament. It's that the Miami Open organizers called the NCAA, said, we've got this Alex Ayala who's about to go on a St. Peter's Peacockian run, and said, you guys can let us handle the March Madness this year. So that's what my model's spitting out over here.
I think that's as good an explanation as any. For sure. Let's talk about March Madness for a second. And we started the week. I mean, the very first thing that came out of my mouth was, listen, it's still the greatest sporting event there is. We all love it. We got Survivor. We got brackets. We got challenges. We got, bets. We got all this stuff. However, right, the way that the transfer portal works now, who knows if this tournament will ever be the same? You kind of follow with that? You're on that train?
Yeah, and look, and I have a unique perspective since I've called all the WAC tournament games for the last 4 or 5 years. And yeah, it is sad. You see the best players every year. They then hit the transfer portal and they go to a Power 4 conference team. The WAC has been really struggling to hold on to even individual teams, not let alone players. I mean, it's just sort of the state of where things are right now in college basketball. But yeah, I mean, look, having said that, I will always watch it. It's more of just a muscle memory type thing. Like, it is the best, still to me, sort of competition we have out there. And I think what's more fascinating about this year's tournament, guys, that I think has created so much more of an appetite for the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight is how many people are still alive in their bracket pools. How many people are still alive in Survivor? Like, I'm through in Survivor. The mental gymnastics have been agonizing this week because, yes, I'm through in Survivor, but how many others are too? Like, it is such a fascinating mental exercise, which, we want to talk about all the upsets and how great that stuff is. But, when 80% of the country's brackets are dead by like 3 p.m. Eastern on the first Thursday, the second weekend doesn't have as much luster to it. So I actually really appreciate the fact that so many people are still alive and we've got such good games, such high quality level of play that we're going to see these next few days.
I said it earlier in the week, I don't think I've ever in my entire life had my entire Elite Eight still intact heading into the round of 16, and I'm probably one of millions of people who have that same sentence, right? Like, oh, I've never had any of this work, and it's not us, right? It's just the fact of how the nature of the beast has been. With Survivor, that's a different story now, right? Like, if you're playing it too conservatively, the object is still to win. So I wonder if those people who are still alive are necessarily, I mean, like, what percentage of those people still alive really have a shot at winning? Who did you end up, have you made a choice in Survivor?
I am going to go with Florida, which might seem like, okay, you're going the uber conservative route. Here's what I think is going to happen, Gil. I could be wrong. Because, a lot of pools, too, you have the tiebreakers based on the combined seeds that you use, right? So there's a lot of people who have gone chalk who are going to go on Arkansas just because of, to me, the game theory aspect. Like, you have to make up ground with an Arkansas. The issue with that, I hate the matchup for Arkansas. I do not think they obviously have a chance, but I really like Texas Tech to come out of that region. So I think what is going to happen is the most heavily selected game will be Arkansas, Texas Tech. A lot of people on Arkansas trying to make up ground.
Yep.
I also think a lot of people want to avoid the Duke region, and they want to save Florida for the Elite Eight. So they're going to use Texas Tech tonight. So my whole strategy here is I'm going to zag on that region. I'm going to use Florida now. I really like Texas Tech. I'm going to save them if I can get to Saturday. Fingers crossed on that. I can then go the other way, use Texas Tech. And at least it is, as hard as that is to totally parse out, Gil, I at least think to some degree that I'll be able to kind of play the other side on how a lot of people are approaching that bracket. And for what it's worth, if I'm able to get through with Florida tonight, I would go Kentucky tomorrow. I really like how the Wildcats match up, just the way their game has, the way they have wanted teams to shoot high volume threes against them. Tennessee has done that in the first 2 meetings and failed to hit many of their threes. So I do like Kentucky. Already bet them plus the points on Friday. They're catching the 4.
So you are on Kentucky plus the points versus Tennessee, corroborating with your Survivor thoughts as well. Yeah, no, you're 100% right that in Survivor, and by the way, Survivor NCAA tournament still the greatest thing going. Yes, Arkansas, Texas Tech will absolutely be the most bet because people who actually have figured out, oh, I'm alive, but I have no shot of winning this unless I get the extra points with Arkansas, are almost forced to play Arkansas if they have any shot, right? So there's a group of folks who just have to go kamikaze on Arkansas tonight. You're probably right. I'm with you that I think Texas Tech probably outlast them, though who knows, right? But then there's going to be the Zag crowd. From the Zig, there's the Zag crowd who go, oh, while everybody's playing Arkansas, then I'll play Texas Tech and knock out a bunch of people that way. That's, by the way, that was my whole strategy, not playing Maryland on Sunday, and Patrick Queen had something else to say about that, and then Oregon didn't get home for me. So again, but the best laid plans, right? You have to think it through for sure. Besides Kentucky plus 4, you have a couple plays in the Maryland game, right? I'm sneaking in a peek at your bracket challenge plays.
I do. I'm going to be full Zach Galifianakis mode for in the Hangover on the game tomorrow, where I've got Florida and Survivor. But I think this will be a really tight game. I did take the points here with Maryland. I also played under. It's not a super stark, heavy correlation to side and total here. And I know Maryland is starting to get some money. I played it at 7. under at 158 here. But I like how Maryland does a really nice job of defending without fouling, and they rebound super well. You have to do that against Florida, who's a top 5 offensive rebound team in the country. I like that the Terps, they're not super reliant on the three. I mean, that's what gets you in trouble against Florida. They're so good at defending perimeter shots. But you mentioned how how a Queen is, and the rest of that Crab 5 are so good at getting quality interior shots. I do like Maryland to control control this game, make it a little bit more rugged interior type of game. And so even though both teams are very up tempo and fast, which is why your total is so high, I think this becomes more of a 2-point shot making type game. And why I do lean Maryland with the points, look at the under, and hopefully, Gil, we get Florida by like 4.
Yeah.
And I can survive, move on to tomorrow.
Ben also on Sparty -3 versus Ole Miss to round out his quartet of picks, where you're 11th place in the VSiN Bracket Challenge. Ben's got
11. All right.
Ben's got a puncher's chance.
Where am I? 14th?
You're 12th.
12th.
You're right behind.
Coming for you, Benny.
There we go, Kelly. Let's go.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Ben Wilson, everybody. We'll come back with more college hoops next.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Ready to get in on the action? First Bet has you covered. Sign up now to access exclusive promotions and bet on hundreds of thrilling horse races every day, right from your phone or computer. Visit firstbet.com. That's the number one, stbet.com, and use promo code VSiN200 to score 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. Don't miss out. Start betting today at firstbet.com. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin alongside. Bill Krackomberger will join us at the top of the hour.
Yeah, Crackman.
Crackman on a Sweet 16 Major League Baseball opening day morning.
Maybe we can get him to address the what's becoming common in casinos, and someone's doing it right behind us here.
Yeah, saw that.
Of the iPhone on a stand, a tripod, if you will, and just recording themselves playing slots and then posting this on YouTube, and people actually watch this stuff.
Why are they watching this?
I don't know. Whenever I see those, though, I just want to go up and start having a conversation with the person, because they're in a very public area trying to do a private thing,
Yeah.
So it's just like hey, how are you?
We get tweets at Beating the Book. Mike Rouse, can you buy a model on the black market? Reference to yesterday's story that Kelly told about a young lady currently dating the president's son, who once in Kelly's high school class asked.
She wanted to know where that black market was.
Where can I find the black market? This is from Arik Gillen. Hope I'm pronouncing that okay. He goes, yo, thank you for introducing me to Survivor March Madness. I'm addicted. Need your help. 2 entries left. Need 1 pick for each with only Maryland not available. Bama, Texas Tech. Please help. I cannot answer that question unless I know what your standing is in Survivor.
What your rules
if you're
are,
behind,
what teams
if you're ahead. I can't really answer a strategic question unless I know that information. It's a great game, but I have to have all the information.
Believe in yourself.
Here's Kelly. Kelly's advice is believe in yourself. It's as good as advice as any. Jamie Leva, most wins by end of April is at DK, but you have to go. This is for Jeff Cam, listener on listener help. MLB odds, start of season, most wins. He's right. Jamie's right, because it's like, who knows where you could find this
There's
stuff
a million
sometimes.
markets up. Yep.
Mike Alvarez. Now that your tennis betting career is over, time to resurrect Hard Rock Gill. HRG, bust out the Spicoli swim trunks of the zinc oxide. Oh, you don't want that. Frank Zardecki, if you want to buy a model, just go down to the black market. Everybody's making model black market jokes.
Yeah, I did think we got a lack of response to that story yesterday. I guess it's all coming in today.
Fantastic story. Tim Murray joins us now to talk some Sweet 16. Tim, of course, host here at VSiN. He hosts multiple shows. During college football season, by the way, we always highlight the wildly successful College Football Tailgate Show podcast alongside as well. But, of course, he loves college basketball just as much. He joins us now courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him at 1. That's the number 1, Tim Murray. How you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm fired up, man. 4 awesome games tonight, 4 games tomorrow. I know everybody, Gil, wanted the upsets. And, I'm just happy that plucky Cinderella, Arkansas, with more NIL than any program in college basketball, with a coach making like $10 million a year, got to make their way through. What a Cinderella story we've got in the Razorbacks.
Plucky. I love that word, plucky. Refresh my memory. You're a guy who grew up, obviously, in what the kids call today the DMV, District, Maryland, Virginia. Were you a Terps fan growing up?
I was not. No, I was actually a Duke fan. So
what
we had
happened
many
to you?
fights.
What happened to you, Tim?
Well, I won't waste too much time because we got business to get to here, but there was a DMV connection to my Duke love. In 1994, when I was a young lad, the Duke Blue Devils made a run to the championship game where they ultimately lost to Nolan Richardson and the Arkansas Razorbacks. But there was a young gentleman by the name of Grant Hill from Northern Virginia on that Duke squad, and that was my favorite player as a kid. So I followed him to the pros, became a Duke fan, and then like my love for hard rock, it kind of dissipated in high school on me and Duke.
We'll allow your reasoning. By the way, Johnny Dawkins, Tommy Amaker, almost a decade before that, obviously. Danny Ferry, huge DC connections down to Duke. Okay, Sweet 16. Let's start with the 4 games tonight. What do you like? What have you bet so far?
Yeah, so I do have a couple bets in pocket. You'll see them up on the website. We're part of this contest that Humans created. So I'm also trying to catch Paul Stone, who is running away with the field. So there's a little bit gamesmanship in there. But I'll start with Texas Tech against Arkansas. And look, Gil, at this point, I guess the fashion is let's lay the number here in a lot of these games because chalk was coming home in those first couple of rounds, specifically the first round. But I do like Texas Tech here. I know Arkansas is getting some underdog love, and look, I backed the Razorbacks. Took the points. I didn't think they'd win outright against St. John's over the weekend, but I think this is a spot where Texas Tech at 5.5, in my opinion, I think you're getting them a little bit on sale. We'll see the status of Chance McMillan for Texas Tech. Grant McCaslin said that there's a chance he could play tonight. He's their best three-point shooter. Look, this is a Texas Tech team that's not going to go 2 for 22 from long range like St. John's, and this is a Texas Tech team that I believe would come ultimately out of the West region. I bet them to do so at plus 550 pre-tournament, and still believe they will emerge out of that region. Arkansas seems to be coming together at the right time. This is a team that got off to such a slow start, as we all know, 0-5 in the SEC, loses Boogie Fland. Now Boogie Fland is back, made some big plays in the win over St. John's. We'll see about the status of Adu Thero for Arkansas. Cal said that he would play on the McAfee show and then kind of took it back a little bit yesterday. So who knows what gamesmanship Cal's playing with there. But I think Texas Tech, to me, in this spot, you're getting just a little bit on sale. So I did lay the 5.5 with Texas Tech. And then the other game in the West region, Gil, that I'm not as excited about from a betting standpoint, but you mentioned it, Maryland and Florida. Look, the situation there with Kevin Willard is bizarre. And from everything that I gather, he's pretty much packed his bags to Villanova. There's a very good reason that Villanova, unlike West Virginia and Xavier and Texas and NC State, et cetera, has not named a head coach, because the belief is that Kevin Willard will be their next head coach. That all being said, from a starting five standpoint, when you look at what Maryland has, I think they're as good as any starting five in the country. Now, when you look at Florida, Gil, the depth that they have, I think sets them apart. So I did take a little 7 with the Terps full game, but I think the more and more I look at it, the way I would look to bet this one would be to take the 3.5 in the first half with the Terps. I think with this starting five that is beautifully nicknamed the Crab Five, I do think that they can keep this thing close in the first half. So I think I would venture more towards Maryland first half as opposed to full game, because I do have worries that the depth for Florida can set them apart at the end. But I don't necessarily think, in my opinion, the coaching rumors will necessarily be a distraction for this Maryland team. I think you'll see a pretty good effort from Maryland. So I'll take 3.5 in the first half.
Yeah, no, part of my handicap on Florida is just the fact that I think it's the Crab Five, as Matty Cox said earlier this week. It's not the Crab 10, and eventually Florida's depth will outlast them. Nothing on your Blue Devils or the Bama games tonight?
Well, hold on. Not my Blue Devils anymore. Okay. We retired the fandom for the Blue Devils. Okay. However, they are my Blue Devils this tournament. I did pick them to win the NCAA tournament. No, I think this is the one game, Gil, that I kind of, and you got to find the games and you got to set them to the side. I stared at this one and I'm like, I'm going to hold off on it. Caleb Love is such a unique X factor for Arizona tonight. I mean, 2 years ago, I think he had 28 points in the Final Four for UNC as they pulled the upset, ending Coach K's career, ending Paolo Banchero's career, and he could do the same again. He was phenomenal, Caleb Love was, in the second-round victory over Oregon. He's such a polarizing player, but I look at this Duke team, and there's a belief now that Malik Brown could play. I'll believe it when I see it. Not to say that he puts them over the top, but I think from a national championship standpoint, if they're able to get Malik Brown back at some point in this tournament, an elite rim protector, boy, that makes things very interesting there. But no bet on this one. I think Duke does take care of business, but I think Arizona has the athleticism to maybe keep this thing competitive. Obviously, there's familiarity between these two teams. They played in Tucson back in November. And then lastly, the BYU-Bama game, I think for me, the most intriguing matchup, even though I was hoping that St. Mary's would, make one layup or two to keep that thing close over the weekend. Not that I'm upset about losing that bet.
I can tell. Yeah.
I do love the fact that we have this matchup, Gil. I mean, you talk about two elite offenses and two teams that are, let's just say, not in love with playing defense. So I think this, to me, and Kelly, this speaks to your heart. I think this is kind of an NBA game. I think this is a really good live trading game between Alabama and BYU. You're going to get swings. You're going to get runs from both of these teams. So I know we all want pre-flop bets, and I fully understand that. But I think if you're sitting down tonight and going to have the television on, this is a great live betting game because that total, as Evan Abrams pointed out, is going to be the highest total in an NCAA tournament game since 1997.
Every Bama game is a spectacular in-game experience. It really is. And I'll say it again. I have a Bama future. I've never thought about a future less. I have to keep reminding myself that I have it.
Let's find some middles tonight, boys.
Let's go, Bama. Come on. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it, man. Tim Murray, everybody. At one Tim Murray. Courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Crack on the other side. A little baseball season win totals history, too. That's next. Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
And we're out.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I need to load funds into my gaming apps.
Stormy, real